Good morning and welcome to the meeting of the Municipal Council of the Municipality of the County of Annapolis. I would like to begin by drawing to your attention the death of Harry DeLong recently. Served two terms as warden of Annapolis County a number of years ago, and you may well have seen his obituary. We are sending a card to the family and also making a donation in his name. Flying the flag at half-mast until the 1st of April, which is the day of the service. Thank you. And we begin with roll call. District 1.
Bruce Prout.
Councilor Connell is not with us today.
District 3, Dustin Ensel.
District 4, Clay Barnett.
District 5, Lynn Mulgren.
District 6, Alec Morrison.
District 7, David Hudson.
District 8, Michael Gunn.
District 9, Wendy Sheridan.
District 10, Brad Redmond.
District 11, Diane LeBlanc.
Thank you. Are there any disclosures of interest? Councilor Ensel, please.
Under section 6.3, letter to Minister of Justice 3 RCMP officers. As an employee of the RCMP and it's dealing with contract and financials, I feel there's a conflict of interest.
Thank you. Further disclosures of interest? Thank you. Any comments on the order of the day? Thank you. We'll move to the minutes of the 20th of February. Thank you. We'll move to page 12 and Committee of the Whole recommendations to Council. Deputy Warden.
Just a moment here, I haven't brought it up. Lovely, yeah. I move that Municipal Council approve Policy 109, tax exemption and reduction, new 7-day notice.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Prout. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now this one would be normally Councilor Connell. How about Councilor LeBlanc?
I move that Municipal Council approve the derelict vehicle collection program for a 3-year term, 2024-25 to 2026-27, with an option for the County of Annapolis to extend the program for an additional 2 years.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Hudson. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Against? Carried. 5.3, Councilor Gunn, could you do that?
Sure, sir. I move that Municipal Council approve a grant to the Upper Clemenson District Community Hall Association in the amount of $1,200 to support roof repairs to the hall in accordance with AM 1.4.9 Community Grants, Community Halls and Centers Assistance Program.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor LeBlanc. Thank you. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Fundy Folk Association. Councilor Prout, please.
Thank you. I move that Municipal Council approve a grant to the Fundy Folk Association in the amount of $5,000 to help support the Evergreen Theatre stage lighting replacement project in accordance with AM 1.4.9 Community Grants Small Project Matching Grants.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Gunn. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried. 5.5, Councilor Bartow, please.
I move that the Municipal Council approve a grant to Round Hill District Recreation Commission in the amount of $16,679.87 to support building repairs and upgrades to Bishop Park Recreation Facility in accordance with AM 1.4.9 Community Grants Large Capital Village Grant.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.6, Councillor Enslow, please.
I move that municipal council enter into a 3-year lease agreement with Bridgetown Dog Park Association for the lease of PID number 05149505 Bridgetown to allow the creation of a dog park.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Sheridan. Discussion. Councillor Hudson, please.
Yes, I would fully support the creation of a dog park in Bridgetown. I guess the part I disagree with is the location of the park. This piece of property I would look at it as a prime piece of property in the center of town, and there are alternative locations, and I believe one of those should have been selected.
Thank you. Further discussion. Deputy Warden, please.
Similar to what Councillor Hutchins just said about location, and I am in favor of a dog park in Bridgetown. That's not a problem. So I feel that the location is kind of less than ideal, and also I kind of not really convinced we're really helping to set this organization up to succeed. At the same time, I understand that we shouldn't have dogs running around the soccer pitches and leaving various detritus there. So I am in favor, but very, very tentatively.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Longmire, 5.7.
I move that municipal council send policy 108 medical recruitment financial assistance policy back to the physician recruitment and retention committee for further review.
Has to make the motions on the floor.
No, that's just a suggested motion.
Yeah, you can't do that, so you have to make the motions on the floor.
The motion's on the floor.
And then make a motion to refer.
All right. All right. So to recommend that municipal council approve policy 108 medical recruitment financial assistance policy 7-day notice.
Seconded by Councillor Sheridan.
For discussion.
Now you can make your motion.
I apologize for that. I move that municipal council send policy 108 medical recruitment financial assistance policy back to the physician recruitment and retention committee for further review. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Councillor Long?
Sure. I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. But there are details that have been raised around perhaps considering a monetary value being placed within this policy, and as well referencing page 39 to 41 of Committee of the Whole package. Number 6 of the policy. Financial assistance provided by the municipality may be used for salary enhancements, training, lease or rent payments, leasehold improvements, equipment and materials, additional staffing support, or work-related travel. There's just been a tremendous amount of conversation around that, so I think we just still need to kind of work through those details. Leave it there.
Thank you. Councillor Hunt?
Perhaps, yes, sir. Thank you. A clarification on number 6 on that policy, which Councillor Robinson just stated, that part of, I think it was number 6 anyway, it talks about that non-profits can access this money, and I think part of that clarification, part of that question is it available? If I can give the scenario, sir, we have a not-for-profit health clinic set up somewhere, and it's being ran by a community group. Can that community group use this as a funding stream? Or is it just for doctors and physicians? And that's probably what we have to work out.
I might say that the motion is to refer.
Yeah.
And so comments should be whether you agree with the motion or you disagree with the motion. Councillor Bartow, please.
Sweet, I agree with the motion. I think that it needs a little more attention. Thank you.
There you go.
I'll second that. Same thing.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion to refer?
Yes.
And that would make 10. Councillor Hudson, you,
Maybe 11.
No, I was just,
no?
You only have 10.
no, I had no comment.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed. Councillor Longmire. 5.8.
Sure. The municipal council confirmed that the mandate for the Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee includes supporting community recruitment and retention activities such as community navigators and walkers.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion, please. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Page 13. Councillor Gunn, why don't you try that?
I move that municipal council give final reading to approve the new M8 marketing levy bylaw in accordance with the first reading given on February 20th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Deputy Warden. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We are now on page 20. I have comments I'd like to make. On behalf of the council, I'm pleased to provide some remarks concerning the proposed 2024-25 operating budget and 5-year capital investment plan. It was, we will agree, an intensive journey to get here, but we did it. And the bonus was that it was an enjoyable process. Council has given serious and extensive consideration to the budget process. And I feel we have drafted a budget that is ambitious and positive in approach, and one that plans for the well-being of our citizens. I'm sure that the tax rate is foremost in many minds, in the minds of many of our citizens, and so I will address that first. It is proposed that the countywide base tax rate will remain at 1.025 for residential and resource properties per $100 of assessment, and $1.80 per $100 of assessment for commercial properties. However, in addition, Bridgetown's community rates are proposed to increase to 45.31 cents for residential and resource per $100 of assessment, and to 74.13 cents for commercial per $100 of assessment. This increase is to reflect the growing costs and still allow for specific services to Bridgetown, such as former Bridgetown debt payments, increases in road and street maintenance costs, as well as an additional $47,000 directly to the Bridgetown Fire Department. Our 5-year capital investment plan speaks to community investments in municipal infrastructure with upgrades and extensions of water and sewer services in Lakeel, Bridgetown, and Bear River. These are the initial 1-year capital investments. They will be followed up in years 2 to 5 with capital infrastructure investments in the East End and West End communities. Our capital plan is positive and aggressive, but not being positive and aggressive will result in our communities falling behind. We need to be positive and aggressive for community growth. Some highlights in the plan include strengthening our emergency planning capability with the installation of more generators at wastewater treatment plants, planning additional improvements to community recreation facilities through accessible trail development in Upper Clements and accessible playground improvements in Mictaw. In year 2, there are plans for a major upgrade to the Granville Ferry Water Tower to ensure the long-term sustainability of potable water to Granville Ferry, Annapolis Royal, and Lakeem, as well as capital improvements to municipally owned recreational properties, for example, DeLaps Cove Wilderness Trail and the Ravenhaven Beachside Family Park. The biggest capital item in the 5-year plan is the proposed construction of a new $40 million recreation complex in 2027-2028 to replace current aging infrastructure and to create a modern facility for families to enjoy multiple ways to continue to be active and maintain good health. Work on this project will begin immediately in 2024 with the searching for a suitable piece of land to locate the new facility. No decisions have yet been made as to what the new facility will include. Those public discussions will begin in 2025. The budget process was a difficult one of balancing the continuing inflationary costs while ensuring that we support and manage the growth of our county wisely and strategically. We understand that property assessments have increased and costs have increased. The municipality is also affected by these increases, which is evident with purchasing and tendering for capital projects that are sometimes coming in double of what was budgeted. This budget reflects a balance of managing growth while limiting financial impacts to our communities to small amounts. In regard to the operating budget, citizens can expect more services and programs, with council providing the leadership to make things happen. We will continue to invest in our community halls with a more generous community grant program, new support for community hall generators, and continue with our tax exemption for community facilities. These items total more than $435,000 in our operating budget this year. The proposed operating and capital budgets make unprecedented investments in emergency services with more than $880,000 in additional funding for policing, including the addition of 3 new frontline police officers effective immediately, and additional fire protection funding in excess of $300,000. Now, many of our larger financial costs are outside of the municipality's control, such as an additional $471,000 for funding to the Annapolis Valley Regional Center of Education to support our local schools and students. An additional $200,000 in funding for King's Transit. An additional $385,000 in costs to pay for curbside solid waste protection collection from our contractor. An additional $216,000 in operating costs due to Valley Waste to manage our solid waste processing. An additional $40,000 in salaries and $21,000 in materials and supplies allocated to operate the Bridgetown sewer system to reflect more accurately the staff time spent on this system. An additional $195,000 in inflationary policing costs, and an additional $80,000 in inflationary capital funding to fire departments. A reduction of $50,000 in our annual equalization funding from the province, and an additional $85,000 to conduct the autumn 2024 municipal election. However, in addition to non-discretional spending, Council is making the following investments in 2024-25. A grant of $60,000 to the Annapolis Royal Pool Society for capital upgrades to the community swimming pool. An increase of seasonal parks and trails staff from 2 to 4 to maintain all municipal parks and green spaces across Atlantic County, Annapolis County, at an additional estimated cost of $55,000. $50,000 grant to the Annapolis County Outdoor Sports Society to operate and maintain the Bridgetown Sports Hub. Continuation of our annual library contribution of $130,700, as well as operating costs for the Bridgetown Library building, with a commitment to increase this amount to any matching increase that the province provides in 2024. An addition of $85,000 to be used for the establishment of an Annapolis County Economic Development Intermunicipal Agency, or to be used to join the Valley Regional Enterprise Network, also known as the Valley REN. New funding to create and manage an emergency alert app for the exclusive use of Annapolis County Emergency Measures Organization, including Annapolis Roy and Middleton, where residents will be able to sign up for real-term emergency alerts. New funding for the creation of a new development officer position to oversee the issuing of development permits that are required for the new county-wide municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw as directed by the province of Nova Scotia. Continuation of funding to hire an external consultant to work on updates to several municipal planning strategies in Bridgetown and the East End that are overdue for updating. An increase in low-income tax exemptions for local residents to decrease the amount of taxes they pay to the municipality. The total amount being exempted in 2024 is expected to be $285,000, up from $85,000 from 2023. And then there is a combined increase of $90,000 in recreational funding among town of among the town of Middleton, the town of Annapolis Royal, and Lawrencetown Recreation Society as recognition of the many county residents that access their facilities and programs. A decrease of $100,000 in external consultant fees, and a decrease of $42,000 in other contracts and agreements. Funding and staff resources to hold active living and recreation strategy meetings throughout Annapolis County to create a 5-year active living plan for future resident programs, services, and infrastructure. A detailed look into the 24-25 budget will be shared in the coming weeks and months. The support and encouragement received from community members has allowed Council the leadership to build quality infrastructure and programs for the most vulnerable, and to support the next generation of community leaders, our youth. I thank all of my colleagues on council, our Chief Administrative Officer and his municipal staff for their willingness to come together and make sacrifices to achieve today's balanced budget and to support significant capital investments to grow Annapolis County in the years ahead. Thank you. We are on page 20. Councillor Sheridan, please.
I move that municipal council approve the draft 2024-25 operating budget reflecting revenues of $25,789,443, expenditures of $25,786,839, and a residual surplus of $2,603.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion, please. Councillor Hudson, followed by Councillor Ensel.
Yes. It's my feeling that in the 2024-25 budget, there should have been some consideration given to reducing the general tax rate. The county has received additional property tax revenues over the last 3 or 4 years from assessment increases. These increases amounted to something like $4.5 million. And I honestly think that, somewhere in the budget, something should be in fact a decrease in the general tax rate. The citizens of Annapolis County have seen large increases in the cost of everyday things. There's food, heating costs, rents, so on and so forth. I can't imagine what it costs to feed and clothe a family of 4 or 5 people. I just can't believe that. To fill an oil bill, you're looking at $1,000 plus, right? These are all increased costs that the citizens are facing, right? And having said that, I feel they need a break somewhere, right? And so, having said that, I do not agree with the, I will not vote and approve. I will not vote in favor of approving the budget.
Thank you. Councillor Ensel.
Thank you. I just want to really echo what the warden said around the process that we went through to put the budget together. There was a lot of heated discussion, but proactive discussion. And I thought that even though this is only my second budget round, that it was definitely a better experience than my first. I understand with what Councillor Hudson is expressing, but at the same time, I have to look at the approach of the cost to support the people in need in the way that we can do it through our grants and through our tax exemptions to help people that are in need, and the growing cost to the county to do certain things. And I believe that we're on track to benefit the county with having these 5-year plans. We're actually looking forward and planning successfully, I feel. Do I have concerns about certain items of the budget? Yes, and I think many people do. But overall, I feel that this is a good budget. The fact that it's in a surplus or balanced budget, and hopefully it will continue that way through the whole actual period. But I'm in support of the budget. Now, when we get further down, I want to have a little bit of a discussion later on. Just my thoughts on that. But the budget overall, I think, was a good process, and I feel there's a lot of good that we've done, and I think it's going to benefit the county as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sheridan, followed by Councillor Longmire.
I just want to say I'm very pleased with the budget. Just to sit here and not have to increase the tax rate, I'm very pleased with. We are increasing the low income amount that people can apply for if they're struggling. With the increase in RCMP officers and all the extras that we have to pay, to look at this budget and realize that we did not have to increase the tax rate is a pleasure for me to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Longmire.
Thank you. I too would just echo exactly the words that Morgan has shared. That summary it hit the nail on the head in every aspect of the budget and the planning and the discussions that were had around the table at the two sessions. I am pleased with where we've landed. I know that for growth and improvements, the only way we can do and achieve is by setting a rate that is reasonable and responsible. And I do know that we had very sensitive conversations around the difficult details that are among all of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. I'd like to thank staff for putting this budget together. And as a matter of fact, Warden, at the end of your comments there, I actually wanted to stand and applaud, not just you for getting through the text, but for us as a council for the things that we've got going on this year and with this budget.
Shall we pause?
I think this budget sets us in good place for the next year. I'm looking forward to the projects that we have coming up in our future budgets. And I think this budget and this process that we've gone through does the job that citizens are expecting of us. And we've done the job of a council by putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Crowell, please.
Thank you. To be brief, I agree with the warden's comments and others who have shared their thoughts on it. It has been quite a process. The pressures that the council, the county have faced, and they were listed quite ably by the warden. I think we've arrived at a place that is the best threading of the needle, so to speak, with what budgetary pressures we face in favor of this budget.
Thank you. Further discussion. Councillor LeBlanc, followed by Councillor Bradshaw, please.
I concur with all the comments that have been said. And we certainly have debated everything and looked at all the cost of increases on everything. And your summary of what you read certainly shows exactly where the cost hikes have gone and how we have to come about where we're at. The pleasure is that we are helping and others that have difficulty with a tax exemption, as was said, and also we are not raising the tax rates so that we can try to minimize tax shock. We all know we're in difficulties, but we all have to try to move ahead. And we've debated it and discussed it, and hopefully this works out very well. Thank you.
Councillor Bradshaw, please.
I agree with all the said so far, short as I'm like. I just want to add that it's a pleasure to be part of the process and to see how all the facts and figures came together. There's been a lot in there. There's discussions either way. Keep maintaining our tax rate is excellent, and being able to balance the budget to allow for some of the growth because we have set some aggressive goals for the next 5-year plan. And going down that road, we're going to have to act similarly in the next number of years. So I really appreciate the emphasis put into this budget, and I'm going to give it out wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Opposed?
1. Motion is adopted.
Has that recorded, please?
Thank you. Why don't we start with District 1, move through the other motions. If you don't wish to make the motion that comes up in your turn, you can pass, and maybe we can do Councillor Craig.
Thank you. I move that municipal council approve a 2024-2025 operating budget taxation base rate for all residential and resource assessments of 1.025 per $100 of assessment and a commercial tax rate of $1.80 per $100 of assessment for all commercial assessments.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Sheridan. Discussion, please. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? 1. Thank you. Councillor Bragg.
Which page is that?
We're on page 20. If you could do the third one down.
Okay, that's good. That municipal council approved 24.5 operating budget taxation area rate for all residential resource assessments in Bridgetown of 43.31 cents per $100 of assessment and a commercial taxation area rate in Bridgetown of 74.13 cents per $100 of assessment and taxation area rate for all properties in the assessment district 12, Morristown, of the amount to be approved by the Morristown Village Commission.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion. Councillor Hensworth, please.
For people thinking that I wasn't going to speak. So, since the workshop on developing the budget, there's been I've had a lot of conversations and reflection and just different things on this. I do have to say I'm kind of disappointed that we had to raise the area rate. However, I do understand why, with the increase of labor and actually really forecasting what is actually spent in Bridgetown versus what was on paper spent in Bridgetown in the past, that we have a true depiction. Now, I'm trying to see a positive out of that in regards to better tracking and better planning for the future. So if we know the true costs, then we can really nail down, define cost savings or define ways to improve and make efficiencies like we have when we're looking at the sewer plant. We realize that there's more money being spent there than what there actually was forecasted, so we're looking at doing things. So I do see that, but at the same time, I am disappointed at the fact that we're keeping the county rate, tax rate, the same, but had to increase the area rate. And there was one thing that I learned as going through this process that I did find somewhat disappointing is I try to keep an open mind of treating everyone the same. And I know that sometimes I can be accused of being pro-Bridgetown, but one would hope that every councillor is pro their district and at the same time pro Annapolis County. So I try to really weigh those two, and I feel that I've done so in supporting a lot of other projects outside of Bridgetown, because it's just not Bridgetown in my district. There is Port Lorne, Hampton, Mount Rose, St. Croix, there's a huge amount. But when I was reading into the area rates more, we're not really treating all of the areas that are getting the same services the same. So in regards to Bridgetown, where we're charging an area rate for road fixtures and plowing and sidewalk cleanup and, the extras that I don't get because I don't pay the area rate because I live in the county. But guess where I do all of my shopping and banking and in the town of Bridgetown. But there's areas such as Cornwallis Park that get those same services and they don't have an area rate. And to my own ignorance, I assumed that they did for some reason until I looked into it further. And it just doesn't in that way seem fair. And I would like to look into different things in regards to the area rates moving forward. I know that during our workshop, the CIO mentioned about the fact that the area rate isn't at the right amount for the services, and that we really need to look into it further. And I was hoping we would look into it further before we made the decision to potentially increase. However, at least this was a small increase, so we're not having a shock factor. But I look forward to that review and trying to treat all of our citizens equally. So I just wanted to make sure I put that forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Councillor Hudson.
Yes, I'd just like to say I totally agree with Councillor Enslow's comment regarding the area rates in Bridgetown. Like him, I'm disappointed that the area rates in Bridgetown are increasing. I would have liked to see them remain the same. Again, from what Councillor Enslow said from a fairness perspective, I don't think they're correct. In addition, I don't really think we know the true cost of Bridgetown. I think what we need to do, we need to see actual figures to prove that this increased rate is in order. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Deputy Warden.
I just really want to address one little part here. It's not, I don't think we should treat everybody equally. I think we should treat them with equity. And the difference is somewhat subtle, but, equally is everybody gets a slice of pizza. Maybe I don't like pizza, so it doesn't really help me much. Where equitably is everybody gets supper.
Thank you. Further discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? One. Thank you. Councillor Longmire, have a go at the next one, please.
The Municipal Council approved fire veteran taxation rates for 2024 to 2025 fiscal year based on $100 of assessment. Margarettsville, District 2, 18.69 cents. Inglewood, District 3, 18.90 cents. Granville Ferry, Districts 4 and 5, 17.05 cents. Carlton Corner, District 7, 15.40 cents. Church Road, District 3, 14.43 cents. Middleton, District 2 and 10, 19.34 cents. Cornwallis Park, District 6, 22.82 cents. Bridgetown, Districts 3 and 7, 30.68 cents.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion, please. Councillor Hudson.
Yes. I would like to hear or get some information of why the rate in Bridgetown of 30.68 is considerably higher than those of the other districts.
I have to ask our Director of Finance if she has that information. You want to come up?
Yes, so
Come up here to the mic.
The first level of the calculation is based on percentage breakdown of assessment. So the assessment value in Bridgetown is 64 million of the 197 million. So the next closest would be Cornwallis Park with 37 million, and they're the second highest rate. So the first breakdown is based on assessment, and then we take the amount we need to generate based on the board orders for the water utilities. And then we do a percentage breakdown of that further to come up with the rates. So it is a percentage breakdown based on assessment primarily.
If I may, so you say it's based on assessments. You say it's 64 million in Bridgetown. It just seems to me that with higher assessments, you get higher revenue.
In this instance, and that is true, yes, so your rate would be higher to generate more revenues. The other way I guess we can look at it is the higher the assessment, the greater the portion of the total amount that's going to the water utility is borne by that district. So greater generation of the revenues, which would require a higher rate to get additional revenues.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, so if we're talking about $100 and Bridgetown's portion of the $100 of the whole thing is $30, they would then pay whatever rate they needed to do to get to the $30 level. So they're paying proportionally based on their assessment. So the more assessment, the more they're paying. Similar to King's Transit formula, the more riders we use, the more expenses we use, the higher our contribution is. It doesn't go down, it goes up.
Councillor Sherry.
And this rate is set out by the UARB, is that correct? The calculation, how they calculate it?
The rate is not the amount.
The amount. The calculation. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed. Thanks.
So we have to generate a certain amount of $500,000 or $1 million, then we allocate where it comes from.
Thank you.
Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. Does the amount of fire, I don't want to say fire hydrants have anything to do with the rate? Because it seems to me that Bridgetown has a lot of fire hydrants, and I think the count in the town was 70 somewhat. In the town of Bridgetown, 70 some fire hydrants.
Oh, I don't think it would be that. A lot of them don't work either.
Well, that's another point.
Well, it's concerning for me to live in that area.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't work, that's very concerning.
Well, that's, yes. We don't.
A number of fire hydrants would have been considered when the board orders were going forward, but in the annual calculations, no, it's not considered. So they set out, there's two options, and it's the greater of a formula percentage of expenditures from the water utility or a base amount. And that's set out by the UARB.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? Yes. Opposed? No. Motion is carried. Councillor Hudson, would I be amiss in saying that you don't want to read any of these as you voted against?
No, I'm reading next one.
All right, thank you. Next one, please.
I move that municipal council approve the 2024-2025 operating budget taxation area rate for all assessment accounts of $3 or 3.67 cents per $100 of assessment for the provision of street lights county water.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Rock. Discussion, please. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. Deputy Warden.
I move that municipal council approve a fire taxation rate for the 2024-2025 fiscal year as follows, based on $100 of assessment. Kingston Fire, Districts 1 and 11, amount authorized by Kingston Fire Commission. Fire capital, all districts, 6.11 cents.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Sheridan. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Unanimous. Councillor Enzo, please.
Thank you. I move that municipal council approve street paving taxation rates for the 24-25 fiscal year as followed, based on $100 of assessment. Shipman, Baxter, District 9, 5.38 cents. Cameron Drive, District 1, 2.26 cents. Brookside, Pine Grove, District 1, 5.57 cents. Bradley Street, District 1, 3.75 cents, and that Ward Estates, District 11, be charged a lump sum amount of $373.65 in lieu of taxation rate.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion, please. Councillor LeBlanc.
Could we have an explanation why they're done differently for the public to know?
Thank you.
Might as well just stay up there.
So this, the Ward Estates paving was done, and residents were given the option of whether they wanted to pay in full or whether to finance it over amount of time. 4 of the property owners paid in full. The remaining 7 were financed over time. So that's just why it was treated differently. So basically it's the annual amount divided by the 7 properties is what those property owners get charged. And I believe the last payment will be 26-27 budget, and that will be done after that. And we did have an additional lot off this fiscal year. So there are now 8, which is likely why we see the bigger decrease this year.
And the decrease.
Thank you.
No problem.
That's what I wanted to hear. Further discussion?
May I have just an explanation about area rates? If I have a community and they want, I don't know, a small sidewalk installed to go from A to B because they need it. Am I right in thinking that that community can come to our municipality or us and say, we'd like you to build us a sidewalk and this to go from A to B. And to pay for this, you can give us an area rate. Am I correct in my thinking there?
Yes, it's a policy of council. Has council done that in the past, where they've allowed people to come forward? I assume that's what they've done for paving. Has council agreed in the past to do that for other opportunities like sidewalks? So that'd be a council question.
So that'd be a council question. As long as council agrees, then that is a possibility.
Sure.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? No. Carried. Councillor Enzo, please.
Again? Okay, yeah. I move.
You enable it to end with grace. Proceed.
Oh, perfect. Good. That's how my style. I move that municipal council approve the due date for taxes of June 30th, 2024, and that all rates and taxes remaining outstanding after this date be subject to an interest rate of 12% per year, compounded monthly.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Sheridan. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? No. Motion carried. Councillor LeBlanc, please.
I move that municipal council approve a sewer rate for all publicly connected sewer systems customers outside of Bridgetown of $609.28 per year and a base rate of $23.98 per quarter and a usage charge of $2.19 per cubic meter for all publicly connected sewer system customers within Bridgetown.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Pro. Discussion, please. All in favor?
Yes.
Unanimously passed. Thank you. Councilor Sheridan, please.
I move that municipal council approve the draft 5-year capital investment plan reflecting financial investments over 5 years of $75,557,819 and a 2024-25 capital investment of $8,857,819.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Longmire. Discussion. Councilor Ensign.
Thank you. I just want to say that it's great that we have a 5-year plan. And I know that some people might be scared by the dollar value of that, but when you break it down per year, it's really not that scary. And especially for what the county is going to get out of it. The fact of looking at the sportsplex, or whatever we're gonna, call it, and just other investments throughout the county for improvement, to continue to attract people to want to stay here. Because without the people wanting to stay here, we then lose the tax rate. Then people lose services. So I'm just glad we have a plan. And at least from there, we can move forward. Without a plan, we're just stuck spinning our wheels. Thank you.
Deputy Warden, please.
I'd just like to elbow my way back onto my soapbox that Councillor Enslow's on there. And say I'm really happy we have a plan too. That's all.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, none. Motion carried. Councilor Gunn, please.
I move that municipal council approve the draft 3-year water utility operating budgets for Bridgetown and Annapolis County, reflecting operating revenues in the 2024-2025 of $722,859 for Bridgetown and $1,055,186 for Annapolis County.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Enslow. Discussion. Deputy Warden.
So I've been, let's say, bothering staff for at least 2 years about our water budget, and I really just want to say that they've done a huge amount of work into putting these together, and that they've continued to refine and catch omissions right up until today. We've the documents on our desk from Thursday, and I know it's been a long road, and I'm really, really happy to see a 3-year budget.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? Yes. Opposed? Thank you. Are done. And if we move to where we pay our bills. 60 or something else. 61 of 62. You got that up there?
Yes. I move that the Council of Municipality of the County of Annapolis send a letter to Nova Scotia Minister of Justice requesting an increase of 3 RCMP officers assigned directly to the Annapolis County Detachment effective April 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Sheridan. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. So why are we sending a letter requesting when we've been directed that we've been compelled to put 3 more staffs on?
If I may, we have no formal direction from anybody to add any officers.
Oh, then why are we adding officers?
Because, as you're aware, we underwent a policing review in conjunction with the RCMP and Nova Scotia Department of Justice that showed our officer complement was not reflective of what is required for our crime rate, our level of residents, our number of residents, and our geography. And so this is a first stage or first step in bringing us more into compliance with what's industry standards for RCMP levels of service.
So nobody's really compelling us. This is just an extra that Annapolis County is doing, bringing more RCMP staff.
If you know you're going to get the stick from your mother, you'll try to avoid it.
Unless you enjoy that.
As you're aware, we've had a review done, shows we're deficient, and so it's incumbent upon council to address it. If council does not address it, then I expect the Minister of Justice potentially would send us a letter ordering it, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
From my point of view, you will notice in the discussions that what we're asking is conditional upon the town of Middleton also approving their share. And my understanding is that's been done.
The presentation we had from the RCMP was quite helpful. I found it very comprehensive and compelling. I had quite a nice chat with their statistics guy on the about it afterwards. Do not envy his job, but I also had some of the resident take me to task on this the other night, and I went digging into some crime stats, and I won't get into them here because they're just really numbers on the page, but our numbers were much bigger than most of the rest of the province, which I found discouraging because I think that is bad.
Thank you. Councilor Crouch.
Thank you. I think we would all agree that we've had a number of constituents approach us all with concerns about the level of policing. In the East End, I attend the Wilmot Area Neighborhood Watch on a monthly basis, and a lot of the concerns are brought forward there of issues that are going on, and I know around Middleton on pretty well all areas, and I won't speak for other councillors if they want to bring it forward as well. There's a real need for more policing and more effective policing, and in order to do that, I think it's incumbent on us to move forward and get 3 more officers for this point. Look at it again in the future if we need be.
I was impressed with the presentations by the people who look at the computers and the figures and come up with it. And as I pointed out at that meeting in 2012, 2013 or so, we increased the number of officers simply because we felt that there was a need. And now we've got what some people would call the hard science of the need. Councillor Longmire.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sorry. Yes, the presentation was amazing. We needed to hear it. The citizens have needed to hear it, and we needed to hear that the commitment is there, that we are going to look at and consider the increase. We can't possibly be proactive in our approach to safety if we do not have the number of officers that have been recommended. I too on the weekend was taken to task by several citizens who felt that we were inflating the need for troops on the ground. And I'm thinking that if they had been around the table, as Constable Maxwell had shared, all of the information, and the statistician who sat there and shared all of the numbers and where we stand today, where we've been, as Deputy Warden Redden had said, the numbers are staggering. And we are, affected by so much of the crime that we are not seeing cared for in the judicial system, but we can't directly impact that. But what we can do is put the right number of officers on the ground to do the work that's needed to be done.
Thank you. Councillor Brennan.
Thank you. My question was mostly about the genesis of where this came from. Not that I was complaining about 3 more officers or the price thereof, sir. I know we need them in Annapolis County desperately, but I was just wondering with the genesis, whether we were actually compelled or it was something that we were doing. Thank you.
Councillor Hudson, please.
Yes, I look at this this way. One of our things that we have to provide to the citizens of Annapolis County is policing services. And they have to be adequate services. And if that means an increase in the number of frontline officers, I think we really don't have any decision with that. And that's something that, an expense that we can't control. We have to incur that expense.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Could someone fetch Councillor Winslow, please? Did you used to use fetch? No. No? No. What do you call the guy in charge? Do you use Sunray? No. Okay. No. Sorry. Thank you. Councillor comments in order of District 1, please.
Thank you. Good morning from District 1. Since our last regular council, I've attended a number of meetings, including 2 regarding the Wilmot and Area Neighborhood Watch and the annual meeting of the Melbourne Square and Area Community Center, along with a number of council-related meetings. With the arrival officially of the official arrival of spring just after midnight tomorrow evening, along with the fast approaching Easter season, I'd like to update everyone on some of the business activities in District 1. Goucher's Market and Spur Brothers, which I always give credit, I share that with my colleague, Councillor Connell. They're becoming even busier. Summerland Nursery in Wilmot will be opening on April the 1st. Greenleaf Enterprises has a wide array of vegetable and herb transplants available, all without sprays and pesticides. They offer fresh flowers galore and are open 7 days a week. Please remember to buy local whenever possible, as it keeps the money in our local areas and helps to support those who support our communities. The community pantry on Saranac Mountain Road continues to be well used. The issue of food insecurity is still with a number of our fellow citizens, and anyone wishing to drop off items at the pantry may do so at any time. And finally, I'm pleased to announce that the largest flea market in Annapolis County will be opening for the season again in Wilmot on the first weekend in May.
Have they got a good selection of fleas?
Sorry?
Have they got a good selection of fleas this year? Well bred?
Please.
I can't comment on the lineage of fleas.
That's on those tables.
That's on the tables, just past Frenchie's as you're heading.
Oh, good. We know well.
Yeah, I spoke with the person in charge on the weekend, and he assures me that it will be open first.
And the lack of snow and the abundance of rain is probably going to produce a bumper crop of fleas. And black flies to go with it.
Lots of black flies. District 3.
Thank you. Good morning. I just want to welcome everyone to the first day of spring. Based on the occasion, I wore shorts today, but that doesn't change anyway. I'm happy that it's the first day of spring, and many people are, especially gardeners, farmers, anyone that does anything outside. I know soon I'll be harping at our public works director about when is the docks going in the basin and the river. So, and also a thing to celebrate that the kids are back in school after March break. So that's an exciting thing. Now the parents get some break.
Get their March break.
Yes, exactly. So just a few things that I've been involved in throughout the community in the past month is I attended various ACOS meetings, so Annapolis County Outdoor Sports Society meetings. They had another public meeting with another large amount of public attending with lots of invested interest in it. As well as now it's spring, they're starting to prep for the use of the facility in all of its glory. So I know that they're trying to ramp up with getting things ready for tennis and pickleball and soccer and of course track and field. As well as chamber meetings, and a very interesting meeting I attended yesterday was the redevelopment of the Mountain Lee facility. So once Mountain Lee moves into the new facility in 2025, hopefully, there was a lot of discussions with the care group of what the use of that building is going to be. So it was a very interesting meeting with lots of ideas and how they want to move forward. I'm sure that there's going to be more information to come. This is just kind of a second kickoff meeting. But I'm excited to see the fact that it's just not going to be an abandoned building or an eyesore. It's actually, they're planning ahead. So it's nice that everyone in the county is starting to really look ahead and plan ahead. That way we will continue to move forward as a group. That's all I really want to say. And of course, the first Saturday of every month, on Lions Breakfast, I see more and more counselors attending. So they must have really good pancakes. Good service, yeah. Thanks.
Service.
Yeah, something like that.
Greetings from District 4. Board councilors, constituents, staff. Don't have a lot to say to this one, but there's been an increased amount of activities through the month. Just to mention a few, Federal Force Committee, Policy, Policing Departments, Department of Justice, Port Southern Bridgetown. Those are some of the larger ones, but there's a whole lot else that goes on in the county every month. So with that aside, it's time to ramp up to look at our gardens and planting our seeds. So our justice catalog came the other day. So we're headed in that direction. Please support local groups in their efforts to provide us with community activities. All of our community halls are putting on breakfast, etc. Keep your eyes open for them when they come. They're always very good, and they're great support for these communities to raise a few dollars to help keep these facilities running. I'll end up by saying, keep an eye out for the Easter Bunny on a county-wide tour.
Greetings from District 5. It sure certainly looks like spring has sprung. We are now just basically hours away. Motorcyclists will soon be polishing their rigs and hitting the highway, so let's try and keep everyone safe out there. I'm so excited to share with you the wonderful events happening at two of the halls in my district. The Granville Hall in Port Royal, located at 3551 Granville Road, offers a wide range of activities from yoga and fitness classes such as Tai Chi to a literacy circle. They are also the host of the Good Cheer Self-Sufficiency Society, along with a monthly coffee club, and so much more. Medea Holtz, Nikki Clark, Elaine Virgin, and Mary Ritchie are just a few of the amazing volunteers that make the space a super hub. Steve Scaft, my apologies, has announced his spring speaking schedule, and on May 16th at 7 p.m. he will be at the Lower Granville Hall. He is a local storyteller and author of The Dead Die Twice, which tells of the stories of 20 abandoned cemeteries across the province. He's also the author of Dead Center, which is a pocket guide to 144 grave sites in Annapolis County, along with Sleeping in a Cemetery, which is all about children's graves. If you have not met Steve Scaff, if you have not read about him or had the pleasure to speak with him or hear him speak, you must. He's a marvel to be in the presence of, and his storytelling is first class. His books are available locally at the Marigold Bookstore, Mad Hatter Books in Annapolis Royal, and as well at the Endless Shores Books in Bridgetown. The Fundy Community and Recreation Center, located in Youngsville at 5407 Shore Road West, has been super busy with their coffee club on Mondays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. They have been fundraising in order to do the necessary upgrades to their halls so that they can be considered one day a comfort center. It is exciting to see the halls thriving. Two volunteers I want to mention here are Brian Rafuse and Linda Lowe. They are unstoppable. Recently, they have been holding Friday night potlucks and jam sessions with open mic. This past week, they held a kids' party over March break, and of course, Saturday night held their St. Patty's Day dance and social. They have an eager group of volunteers seeking lots of opportunities to bring local communities together, and more events are scheduled for the spring. It has also been wonderful to see these halls present on social media, not only promoting their own events, but sharing others, and along with important information around weather storms, planned power outages, comfort centers when needed to be open, and the 2024 burn and wildfire season. And I quote Brian Ord, "Let's do our part, exercise caution, and prevent disasters." If you do not follow Annapolis Remo, I encourage you to do so on Facebook. That is if you have the ability to do that with social media. If you do not have social media, then you can certainly get the up-to-date information on the 2024 burn wildfire season by calling 1-855-564-2876. Always, if you're looking for a venue to rent, consider your local halls. Thank you.
Thank you. In District 6, we know that spring has sprung and grass is riz. Driving in this morning, I was listening to the spring portion of Vivaldi's Four Seasons. I can recognize the tune, but I wouldn't know the name of it. But having been told that it was the spring one, I guess driving for almost 20 kilometers, you can look around and marry the music to the countryside. The community halls are getting busy. New activities and publications have been designed to feed the intellect and the natural hunger for tasty goodies. The Deep Brook Long Lake Lions Club and the Community Market, which is a separate entity that sells on Wednesday afternoons, are holding a community yard sale on Sunday, March 24th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that will be attended, I would hope, by a lot of people who the day before attended the Lions Club breakfast. And there's a dinner theater on the horizon. The Cornwallis Park Community Center continues with breakfast second Saturday of each month, and the hall continues to be busy with community activities every day and most evenings. The Clementsport Legion continues with Friday suppers, Wednesday coffee breaks, bingo during the week, and other community-wide events. The Upper Clements Community Hall has recently published an attractive, it's in color, 2-page bulletin of hall and community news. And one of the pictures shows the hall when it was Ryerson School in 1906. And I know that a lot of people will be taking out the magnifying glass and trying to identify great-grandparents. Features in the bulletin include an introduction to the hall and its activities, a review of past activities, and forecasts for the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. I I guess I would just like to echo the comments that are previously made regarding spring. I think people are very anxious to get out, outside, to do those outdoor activities, and hopefully the weather will start to increase. That will allow that. From maybe a bit of a personal perspective, I think the arrival of spring and better weather is maybe particular interest to the golfers around the country. You know, they are very eager to get out there and or dig up their clubs and hit those little white balls. Like other councillors, I have attended numerous meetings over the past month. I will not list those. I think that most of them have been mentioned already. Having said that, I guess that's my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Gate.
Thank you. Mr. Gate report March 24th. It's a bit early, but happy spring to all. Communications this month have been varied. I've joined the gentlemen in the southern reaches of Route 8 to review particular road washout and pothole problems and the lack of maintenance, such as ditching and clearing and the overgrowth besides the roads. It's interesting the difference in the roads from one county to the other. We agreed that there needs to be some coordination happen between the different Department of Transport offices. I had calls about the damage done to a property by a snowplow operator called the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works to support their complaints, and they got it straightened right out. I gotta say, I can't say enough about that one. I think it's an 88 number that Department of Highways has out there. You call that number if you got a problem, and you usually get some good response to it. I continue to have discussions about the upcoming need for access to children's summer swimming lessons in the western half of the county, and how that could be provided at Raven Haven if our recreation department will arrange it. I'd like to remind everyone in the Bear River area that the fire hall breakfasts on the first Saturday of the month. I can personally attest to how good the food was 2 weeks ago when I was there. I'd also like to thank the diligent folks at the Clementsvale Foresters Hall who managed to keep that rink going this year as much as they did. It was a huge effort, and the families and kids were able to benefit from the local rink. Thank you, and I'd like to thank them for their efforts. And the South Milford Hall held its first and very successful cribbage tournament, with another scheduled for April 4th. These cribbage tournaments are really catching on around the different legions and community halls as fundraisers, and they are a good afternoon of fellowship, believe me. And it's spring this week, and I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone that it's a good time to start some seeds indoors. Peppers and celery take a long time to get going, so don't hesitate to give them an early start. Thank you.
Take a long time. Number 9. Thank you. I too am looking forward to spring. Tomorrow, I think, is official. I attended on March the 3rd. I want to give a shout out to the Nicktoff Fire Hall because they celebrated their 70th anniversary. It was very well attended, and it was interesting to speak to the family of the original founders of that department. And the photos they had from when it started right up until now, there were scrapbooks. It was really interesting. And other than that, they do have their bingo again on March the 30th, and I'll keep it short, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. The equinox, as councillors have pointed out, where there comes a solar eclipse. Don't look at it too closely with their protection, but it always excites me. District 10, we have the Lawrencetown Area Seniors Association meeting every second Tuesday. As always, they offer good conversation, a book club, and other activities. And the Lawrencetown Legion is hosting open mic nights on the second Friday of each month.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to say that, like everybody, I'm ready for spring. However, don't put those shovels away so that it does it. We need to make sure that Easter's coming. And on that note, the Easter Bunny is definitely coming to the Three Rivers Community Center. and for breakfast on the 23rd, and he'll be waiting to see everybody there. On that note, also, the Three Rivers Community Center has a lot of things that they have going on, and just a list of them is kids karate, Zumba, adult karate, kids dance, karate with weapons. I don't know if I do that one. But anyway, there's chair yoga and all sorts of different levels of yoga. And they also have, so it's not every month, but it's intermittent, a clothing giveaway for people that might need to have, different things or lacking things or need to have a few more things in their closet for kids and so forth. And that is done by the Google Moms. So it's always nice, and they sometimes set up with their, also at the same time with free vegetables and stuff like that at the Three Rivers Community Center. So check their website and see what's going on, and they also have new singers coming, country singers coming, and it's always a good evening of entertainment with basically, I believe it's the cost is minimal. So go out and enjoy, especially now that the weather's getting better. Thank you.
Last document on our agenda is the tracking list. And it really is enjoyable to read. You've got to actually know what's happening. To all the things you say. Any other business?
I have a comment. I have to say, during budget time, the government brings out the men with the new shoes. Do we have our CAO coming out with a new suit? He looks
Yeah, nice suit.
lovely in the new
Look
suit.
at my spring shoes.
Is it the budget suit, or do we have budget shoes? Which one is it?
Special shoes, but special suit for today.
Ah, perfect.
Yes, I'm not Irish, so I can't wear St. Patrick's Day, but I have Scottish in me, so this is Scottish tartan. So
St. Patrick's.
Yes, it was Sunday.
Oh, that was a Sunday.
Yes.
Oh, that's the birthday of Princess Patricia, daughter of the Duke of Connaught, and who was Governor General in 1914, and after whom these ways Princess Patricia's in
Google that is on it.
Which part's done?
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.